guys? Thanks so much for clicking on my channel. We're all smiles over here. I am with Sanja Slay asking a question. Will Sanja help me keep it smile for today? Hopefully the answer is yes, you guys. I'm gonna try not to keep it long, but y'all already know. If it gets good, I'm gonna keep on talking. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And go to the nugget today is I'm here to stay. In other words, I ain't going nowhere. But before I get to running my mouth, let's go and do what? Shake up this manifestation jar, and then we're gonna talk about it. Okay, let's see. And I pulled out one, and that one says what? Understanding, and we'll take that all day long. Yes, we will. Listen, I'm here to stay. Why? Because I'm all the way aligned and connected, and because I'm all the way aligned and connected, I can't help but to stay where I am, which means what? In peace, in joy, in happiness, in love, in truth, knowing that the best is yet to come. I'm blessed spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. I just can't move out of this space. That's this spot that I'm in. I'm just too nestled. I'm too comfortable. I can't go nowhere. I gotta stay. I ain't going nowhere. You're probably thinking the same thing. Why? Because you remember, just like I remember, what it was like before I got all the way aligned and connected. We were like what? An abandoned house. When you hear the words abandoned house, what do you think about? You think of something what? That looks creepy. You think of something that looks haunted. You think of something that's dilapidated. You think of something where their grass is overgrown. You think of what? That the bushes have overlapped in the walkway to where you can't even get to the door. You think that the windows look crazy, right? All cracked and broken out, right? There's spider webs everywhere. The house needs to be pressure washed. There's a dead tree over here, a dead tree over there, and it just looks crazy. Trash in the yard just looks crazy. And what happens when that abandoned house is like that? You have neighbors down the yard that say, oh, that thing need to be torn down. It's just making the neighborhood look so bad and whatnot. But what happens when the right developer comes around? That developer says, well, yeah, I'm gonna buy that house right there. And they say, you sure you want this house? It's another house over there for sale. You don't want that one? No, I want this one. You know why why they want that house is because they can see that the bone structure of that home is sturdy. It really is. It just needs to be revamped, remodeled, renovated, right? In other words, it needs to be flipped. So that developer will come in there and they'll start with their yard, start cutting the grass. Right? That's my lawnmower sound, y'all. And so the neighbors down the street say, hey, listen, you know that creepy house down the street? They cutting the yard down there. It kind of look a little better. Yes, it does. And then the developer say, you know what? Pull up them dead trees, and I want you to put cypress trees there, and I want you to put this tree there, and I want you to put a fruit tree right there, and I want you to do that. And so start planting trees. And then I say, hey, I want some flowers over here. I want a whole nice big old flower bed. And then the neighbors down the street are saying, what? Oh, you know that creepy house down the street? They getting that yard together. They done put flowers down there. They ain't got new trees and stuff. It's looking good. And then that developer say, okay, let's move on to the house now. Let's change this door. Let's put in a different door and put all the fixings with it. Let's do that. And then the neighbors, they're talking. Oh, they didn't put a new door in the house. And then what the developers say, well, let's put in new windows. Start painting. They'll pressure wash that whole house, right? Paint it up. And then they'll go on the inside. And then they do what? Tear down the walls. In our cases, walls of jealousy had to be torn down. Walls of abandonment had to be torn down. Walls of what? Just all kind of stuff that's contrary to who God is had to be torn down, just like the developer does to that abandoned house. And before you know it, when that developer finishes flipping, renovating, remodeling that house, it's brand new. The neighbors down the street can't even remember what the house used to look like when it was abandoned. The only thing they're saying is, oh, that house so beautiful. I think I want to do that to my yard. I think I want to do that to our door. What? You have inspired. That developer inspires other people to want to be like the newness, the likeness of what it is. And that's how we became. When God saw us in our mess, being led by the mind, body, ego, falling here and falling there, not being successful here and not being successful there, when we finally surrendered the keys to our home, to our abandoned home, God started sweeping stuff out, cleaning stuff up. He said, hey, listen, the yard look a mess over here. We need to trim this up. Pull that up from the root. We don't need that in you at all. And God just started ripping and pulling things out, pressure washing this and pressure washing that, planting flowers here and planting trees there, putting in new windows so you can see, because you had different windows that had holes in them where you could feel a draft. That's why you used to get upset when people throw shade at you. You'll feel that cold draft and you want to retaliate. But now God put new windows in you. And now when the coldness comes through people, places, and things, you don't even feel that draft. You still nestled and warm. It's almost as if God tucks us in like a little child. You know how it is when you have little kids and you want to read them a bedtime story, and then you nestle them in, tuck them in, and they so comfortable they can't help but to have a peaceful sleep. That's what God does for us when we get all the way aligned and connected. He tucks us in to where we can't help but to have a peaceful life. We're blessed all the way around, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, all the way around. He blesses us to where you know, ain't no way I'm leaving this spot. I'm too comfortable. This is, I'm good. I'm good. You want to go here? No, I'm good. You want to do that? No, I'm good. You ain't trying to leave. You ain't trying to go nowhere. Why? Because you're in the right place. Now you're in the right place. And here's the thing, y'all. Whenever God is ready to move you to the next level, to go to a different route or whatever, He'll give that to you at heart. He'll plant that seed in you. And when He plants that seed in you, then He'll allow other people, places, and things to come to you to say the exact same thing, and then confirmation happens. Here's the thing, and I want to help y'all understand that sometimes when you're in the perfect place where you're supposed to be in God, sometimes God would not notion you to do anything. But people who are uncomfortable where you are because they don't understand the changes in your life for the better, they don't understand it. Things that people don't understand, they are afraid of it. They're fearful of it because they think it's going to change the whole dynamic of what you have with them. And that's not the case. Anytime somebody in your life gets better, for the better, you shouldn't be afraid of that. But some people are. Sometimes it could be your wife. Maybe you made a great change in your life, and now your wife is afraid that you're changing too much. And it's the craziest thing, because what? You are changing for the better. Because what you are changing as, it's going to be better for you and your family. But if your wife don't understand what's going on with you, then what? She's going to be afraid. She truly is. Same thing with a husband. If a husband is used to his wife being a certain way, and then that wife get to changing for the better, but he doesn't understand the changing, which means he doesn't know what this change is going to lead down the road, he'll become fearful, and he'll pull against that. He'll break away from that. He'll put roadblocks in the way to say, no, because I don't know where you're going with this thing, because I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm going to be a stumbling block in your way. But can I tell you what? Do not get discouraged, husband. Do not get discouraged, wife. Why? Let me tell you what I do. What I've done since I've got married. Okay, I've been married for 20 years. Yay! Been married happily married for 20 years. And when I got married, I understood leadership, right? I understood that there's God, my husband, me, my children, right? And so when that came, when I got married, I realized that, okay, God, now I can't be doing stuff by the spur of the moment. If I say I want to go here, I can't just pop up and just go and say, I'm going to leave you a note and tell you I'll be back and I'll do this. Nah. I understood that. So I said, God, whenever you plant a seed in me, or you give me something to do, be a have, when you give it to me, please get that memo to my husband. So whatever you want me to do, get the memo to my husband. Get the memo to my husband. Get the memo to my husband. Then that way, when he gets the memo, he'll come to me and discuss it with me. Or when I'm in the walk of being doing a half, when God wants me to be doing a half, then there's no pushback from my husband because he's already gotten that memo. So a lot of times we don't ask, or you don't ask God that way, especially you married couples. You don't ask God to give your other significant the memo. And that's why it's like this. You're like going here, no, I want you to go over here. It's like tug of war. Your husband don't want you to do this, and he wants you to go the way that he's got the family design. And you're like, no, but God told me to do this. And your husband said, but I'm the head of the household. And your wife, maybe your wife is the one pulling, going, hey, listen, hey, I want our family to go this way, but you know, husband, that God is saying, I want the family to go this way. What you're supposed to do, or what you should do, I'm just giving y'all some advice if you want to take it or not, is ask God whatever he's given to you in your heart, and you know that was God, ask God to give your significant other the memo. And trust me, they will get the memo, but this is what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to rush that thing. Don't rush it. Don't try to get your husband or get your wife to see what God has showed you right away. Because if they're not all the way aligned and connected, if they're not all the way in that space to hear what God has spoken to you, or to see what God has spoken or shown you, then it's going to take them some time. You just got to stay diligent in what you're doing, obeying God, allowing God to lead in your life, and in due time and in due season, they will get the memo. They will get the memo. They can't help but get the memo. If they love you dearly, and if they really want to know if is this really what God is calling you to do, be and have, then they will get to a space, if they're really supporting you, if they really want the best for the family at whole, the best for you as a husband, the best for you as a wife, then guess what? They gonna find a way to say, God, is this what you asking my wife to do? Is this what you asking my husband to do? And guess what? When that openness is there, then God will deposit that memo. And then you won't be having to play tug of war with your spouse and things that God has called you to do, be and have. You'll be over there in peace. But in the meantime, until God gets them the memo, don't you try to treat them mean. Don't you try to do anything crazy. You just keep doing what you're doing. Be a good wife. Be a good husband. Loving on them and appreciating them and thanking God for them, and let God do what He's supposed to do. Because God is not going to call you to something to where somebody in your family, especially if it's your wife or your husband, ain't going to get on board. Because you know God ain't going to let your husband stop what's in your life. God's not going to let your wife stop what's in your life. If He knows that you're really willing to do what He has called you to be, do, and have, He knows how to get your significant others on board, to respect it. Even if they ain't on board all the way, He'll cause them to respect it, which means what? They won't try to pull you away from doing what God has called you to be, do, and have. Y'all get it, got it good? I hope so. But listen, stay in your space. Don't go nowhere. Say like I'm saying, I'm here to stay. When you are nestled, I'm telling you, it's the best place ever. You got the right seat in the house. It's like you're going to a concert. I know my husband and our kids just go to concerts all the time, here and there, classical concerts, and just people just going to see different people, right? And every time we would get there, if there were not assigned seats, we would be rushing. Even just to go to the movies, we would be rushing to find the perfect seat at center stage, not too high, not too low. And once we will find that seating, we'll go, we ain't going nowhere. Don't nobody get up to go to the restroom, because if you get up and go to the restroom, somebody out here, they still scouting to find a good seat. So stay in your seat. And then after it starts and intermission comes in, then we can get up and go to the restroom, because now we have solidified our space. Which means what? When you know you got the right spot in the house, where you can see clearly, you can hear clearly, you can sense clearly. You ain't trying to move, because now you're properly guided, which means what? You can see and know that the best is yet to come. You have the truth, and ain't nobody can tell you anything different. You'll respect others' advices. You will respect their opinions, but you'll know your truth, and you'll stick to where you are, which means what? You ain't going nowhere. Why? Because God is an amazing leader. He's an amazing leader, and He'll cause your life to blossom spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, all the way around. And you'll be like that dilapidated house on the end of the street, to where they won't refer to you the dilapidated house. Matter of fact, people get lost because they'll forget that they on their street, because you have changed so much to where you have beautified their street. That's what happens when God leads. He will beautify you so much to where it'll cause people around you to look better. Even though once upon a time they were looking at you crazy. They didn't want to be around you. They didn't want to talk to you because they were looking down on you, because they thought certain things in your life weren't right. So you needed to be taught a lesson, or you needed this and needed that. And they didn't want to hang around you. But now that God has renovated you, who they want to be around you? They want to talk to you. They want to be affiliated. Why? Because they know if they get around you, because you look so good now, then it'll cause them to look better. That's what God will do for your life. So I don't know about y'all, but I know about for me. The truth is, and my truth right now, I ain't going nowhere. I'm here to stay. I hope y'all got this thing, but if you didn't, rewind and watch again. But in the meantime, in between time, if you take just a little bit of what I'm telling you and apply to your life to the best of your ability, you won't ever have the best smile. Why? Because your smiles will always be genuine. I'll talk to y'all soon. Be blessed, say blessed, be blessed, say blessed, be blessed, say blessed. Y'all know what's coming next. Ciao.